Well, hi, it's me again. I'd like to go through the plot a bit with you and talk about some of the big form elements that Verdi is working with. I think you'll find it fascinating because you're becoming an expert in this sort of stuff now, like it or not. So remember, the plot line this is the plot line of the opera in this particular diagram, although you remember that in a standard drama it goes something like this: exposition, rising action, climax, falling action. But that's contained, just put that in your mind within here. So we're going to be looking for the climax around in this part. And of course Verdi, as Bizet did 25 years after Verdi, puts the climax in a great finale at the end of what we will call Act 3. Okay, remember the great climax in the mountains where José is torn between Micaela and Carmen. He's on the cross of indecision, and of course makes the wrong decision, like every good tenor who has resonant chambers where his brain should be. So here's the plot line. And in here is musical form and environment and the character experiencing everything around them, gathering images in, falling in love, falling in hate, doing all the things that tenors and baritones and sopranos do. The opera begins with a very short prelude, which I have argued and will argue is a description, a musical description of a very complex character, Violetta Valere. Now, in general, let me summarize the plot here and the scenes. Act 1, which takes place in the demi-monde, chez Violetta's, at Violetta's place, is a public place where a great ensemble occurs in the act. This same thing is true of Act 3. Now, in between, and critics have made a lot of this, are two domestic scenes. From this enormous, joyful, crazy ensemble here in the demi-monde, we go to a three-character, intimate scene in the country. A psychological deconstruction of Violetta's mind and heart by, as you know, Papa Germain. Then the third scene is once again thrown back into Paris, and you have this ensemble, and add to it a ballet, a card game, vicious, big money involved, all leading up to a confrontation between Violetta and Alfredo in the finale here, which is one of the really wonderful pieces of music drama in the history of opera. Just magnificent. I can hardly wait for you to experience it. Finally, then, we go back to intimate domesticity. And Violetta is alone, waiting on Alfredo to return to her. And once again, as in Act 2, in the fourth big scene, you have Violetta waiting on Alfredo, and as it turns out, death. And Germain also comes with an apology, realizing that he misunderstood and misrepresented and vilified this woman, although he has succeeded in his aim. His daughter is safely married, but now he thinks maybe he will let his son marry this woman who has exhibited a great heart and a great soul to him. But it's too late, as you will see. So what we have here in this plot is this absolute contrast of elements. This vital ensemble scene with all this brilliant musical forms and wonderful melodies, contrasted with a very intimate, painful dissection of the heroine. Then she goes back into the demi-monde and is excoriated, is first celebrated and then destroyed at a scene of It's her friend Flora's place, another demi-mondaine. And this has a brilliant finale, and then back to this very intimate domestic scene at the same place that the first act occurred, Chez Violette. And in this environment, which we'll get to a little bit more in a few minutes, we see all these, this cornucopia of emotions, and we see right into the depth of the heaven and hell of Violetta's soul, and we'll get right to that.